Hi, everybody. Welcome to another weekly AMA. Great to have you all here. If someone in the chat could maybe give me a wave to show that I'm audible to all you guys, then that's good. And then we can proceed. We're getting an echo there, lads, from someone.
John, I think you're giving a little feedback.
Okay. Thank you, Werner. Thank you, Moscow. Okay, we'll get started then. So it's been a busy couple of weeks for the project internally and externally. And we had our bridge upgrade, and we've had, of course, more recently the update to the tokenomics, to the Cherrynomics. That's kind of bolstered our position, and it's a way to kind of increase the confidence of our community and our partners in what we're doing at the moment to make us more future-proof and sustainably minded. So that was quite positive. In a few minutes, I'll go through some of the things internally that have been happening. But I know you guys are here to hear Herman and his strategic overview of what's going on a high level. So Herman is here on the call already, and I'm going to hand you over to him, and he's going to enlighten us as to what's going on at the top. Are you there, Herman?
At the top, that's silly. Hey guys, I'll keep this update brief. As Owen mentioned, we had this minor blockchain upgrade and a subsequent hiccup that was resolved shortly after last week's AMA. Following this upgrade, which again is restricted to the tokenomic upgrade, so essentially reducing the token emission and extending the eras, and then some additional tokenomics variances such as the pausing of advisor releases and treasury distributions. All that went successfully. There was one snag. The bond, so the duration of the bond, and by bond I mean what people stake towards their nomination of a validator, was 28 days originally. After the increase by four times of both the epoch and the era, that too increased by 4 times. This was unintentional, and we solved it yesterday. So today you can go back to your cherry.place interface and see that the bond, should you decide to unstake it, will be released back to you in 28 days and not anymore 112 days or whatever the number was. As we've been announcing and suggesting for the past few weeks, the relay chain update is very, very near. This previous upgrade also made sure that some prerequisite updates and systems were in order and ready for deployment in relay chain. The time is very close, and if it's not, early next week, certainly by the next AMA, I'll announce a more specific timeline. Of course, we'll deploy it on testnet. So we've, of course, been testing it in our private networks, called regnets or developer networks. We will publish that entire set of upgrades to testnet so that anyone can test it, connect parachains even, though we'll see exactly how that interaction will work out. If you're interested in running a parachain and see for example, how a parachain of Polkadot would fare connected to ours, feel free to reach out. We'd love to experiment with that on testnet. After about 2 weeks of testing within this testing environment, we'll release the relay chain update. So Cherry Network will become a layer 0 officially about 2 weeks after that. At around that same time, we'll be adding the Ethereum compatibility layer to our testnet to once again test that. We don't expect that to take as much testing as the relay chain, as the relay chain is much more substantial of an upgrade and much more sensitive. Of course, the EVM compatibility would work as a side chain or parachain, so it'd be more or less restricted, and its functionality, if any issue would present itself, would be limited to the side chain and not rather corrupting the entire chain state that is nonetheless kept in the layer 1 common state of the Cherry network and mainnet, as it will be in about 4 weeks, hopefully. Again, so give it, if it's not 2 weeks, give it 5 to 7 days of testing. And probably about a week after the mainnet release of the relay chain, the testing of the EVM compatibility layer on testnet will be complete and a good candidate for release on mainnet. If all these dates have confused you, don't worry. We'll try to release a more detailed written form update on this. But you can expect that in general terms, in about a week, we'll be releasing our relay chain update on testnet. 2 weeks after that, perhaps 3, we'll be integrating that relay chain upgrade tested on testnet to the mainnet. And at that same time, we'll be adding the EVM compatibility layer to the now layer 0 tested testnet. And about a week after that, testing of that compatibility layer will be complete and ready to be added to the mainnet. To explain these updates further, we'll try and get a core developer to join us next week, AMA. I think he'll be better suited, more than I, to coordinate and prepare the coordination with testers. Should you be interested in working with us in making sure that these environments, both the relay chain and the EVM compatibility, work functionally and are free of bugs as we've designed them to be. We've spent a lot of time working on it. As well as he'll be able to provide you with a better understanding of how these procedures will work and what the implications are for you guys specifically, for example, in relation to accounts and cryptography. Of course, EVM works with EVM address derivation. I think it's, well, whatever. As you can see, the Polkadot.js, the accounts you have on Trade.place are different. They start with a 5. They're a different amount of digits than your MetaMask addresses, for example. There will be a conversion mechanism native to the EVM compatibility layer. I think accessible also through the Polkadot.js extension, and ultimately also available through the additional interface that we'll provide to connect with our EVM compatibility layer, to which you'll also be you'll be able to connect with MetaMask. So all the tools that you're familiar with in interacting with Ethereum, you'll be able to also use that to interact with our EVM parachain to the Cherry network relay chain once all those upgrades are complete. So we'll invite him. He'll walk you through all that and hopefully clear any questions. And if you do have any questions, prepare them for that. He'll take notes. And if he's unable to answer that, then we'll formulate some written answers as usual and carry the conversation forth from there. That's the main update. People have asked, when is the bridging back? Well, back in quotation marks. Of course, the only real place where tokens are native to is the Cherry network. So rather, when will the bridging off the Cherry network will be available, let's say to a BNB chain, to Ethereum, to Polygon, etc. The answer to that is shortly after the EVM compatibility layer is online. We do this because we have used the interoperability channels that the current bridge is based on with some success. We don't believe it's as stable as we'd like. And therefore, for security purposes and also for purely functional purposes, we'll just delay its release to not much further down once the EVM layer is complete. And then we'll be able to have direct EVM to EVM compatibility communication, which essentially allows almost foolproof bridging between networks. So if you're waiting for that, if you're waiting to bridge your tokens from a Cherry network to another network, let's say because you want to trade them or so forth, you'll be able to do that about, let's say, weeks to days after the EVM compatibility is released. That's, again, scheduled in the timeline that I described earlier. One other announcement, similar to the vein we discussed last time about tokenomics and various actions that we're taking to, let's say, direct and guide supply to benefit the market that generally has this sort of bearish outlook for the near one. Of course, we can't really act. We're no better traders than any of you guys, really. And our abilities and our assets are much better spent, let's say, developing technologies or building the Cherry brand. Both of these where our money is frankly better spent, and also our team is, and our founding team especially, is much more competent. This update here, however, is more of a service update. People have been noting ever-increasing supply or ever-increasing circulating supply of Cherry tokens on the BNB chain and Polygon. This was due to the distribution following the token sale that happened in November and the months prior to that. I'm glad to say that the bulk, I want to say something like 80% of the tokens sold during the distribution has now, or sold during the token sale has now been distributed. And since 5 days ago, so we're now at the 275th day, if you're counting, since the token was officially released to market and distributions starting happening. Since 5 days ago, therefore, or 9 months after, the distributed amounts has declined from nearly 5 million or 4 million, I forget what the number is, maybe 2. Don't take my kid, just look at the blockchain, you'll find it. Release per day to now well below maybe 300,000, 200,000. That's a radical drop. That again also helps in restricting supply, as fewer tokens are getting minted in addition to supply, or circulating supply rather, daily. These are the core updates. I did promise to keep it short. I did get lost a bit in the dates of Relay Chain and EVM. It is very exciting, but I'll spare details and technical details to next week with our core developer, who will be able to elucidate more and in greater detail. Prior to closing, I'll just say that ecosystem has still received most of our and my personally time and effort. This is both ecosystem development and ecosystem growth. In growth, we are now partnering with sort of something that has been mentioned in the past, a very good partnership. And we're now pursuing similar avenues to that, thanks to the same context. This will allow not only to develop the tools and skills necessary to bring that main, quite valuable partnership, frankly, the most valuable partnership we're prospected currently to fruition. But also, once we do strike that partnership, jumpstart that effort, and rather than spending, after months of negotiations, then weeks more to understanding how we go from there, having developed these skills and technologies around this item that unfortunately I can't disclose, we'll be able to bring those weeks of discovery, weeks of study and research down to perhaps days. As far as development goes, Seedling and Cherish representatives are both here as always. I'll let them discuss on that. I have a minor shout out to Original Factory, whose management team has finally decided to move forward with no specific timeline, but I'm quite optimistic to that. They decided to integrate more technology, not specific to blockchain, but rather enhance what they do, which is art essentially through technology by AI models and so forth. That's all quite interesting. We'll hope to get that going and release as quickly as possible. Also, because I think there hasn't really there is no better time at this point. There's no further reason to delay than to try to time the market, which again shouldn't be the job of innovators or entrepreneurs. We should just let the traders to stick to that. We also have some other things. Perhaps Marvin will tell you more about this. Cherish has been developing at breakneck speed. I'm very much personally involved in that. We believe we can get as close to as an MVP possible, ready at least for a general glance, if not direct use. Perhaps we'll invite some alpha testers and so forth within weeks. I'm very optimistic about that. All of the functional bits have been complete for now months. There were some significant updates done just last week about how image processing is done. We, for compliance reasons, also in light of not making or not restricting really the activity of Cherish to just crypto, and therefore a more lenient audience, but also to make it more agreeable with a wider public, let's say competitive to Instagram and so forth. The developers decided to add some automated moderation systems, as well as image processing that allows, again, for moderation, as well as increased deliverability. So resizing, blurring, and all the effects you'd expect, a large image board or a large media board to feature. A lot of this effort has already been complete. It's now in testing. Some more is expected over the next few days. But once that's done, I think this is a pretty extensive add-on to what's already there. Not only will Cherish be at a very good point, practically, in its timeline, we'll probably, as I said earlier, be able to launch at least an alpha pretty soon, but also will position it not only competitively against its very small niche space of crypto social media, but also against, let's say, Tumblr and other social media of the like, in a much broader market, not specific to crypto. That's all from me. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for, as always, going way beyond. But if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Herman. So I have a couple of questions here for you. Okay, so there's one what kind of commonalities, how different or how similar will Cherry be to Polkadot and Cosmos? And I think that very different is the answer, but maybe you'd have a couple of words to share on that.
So Cosmos is an internet of blockchain. That's an interesting proposition. Polkadot, likewise. These systems are general purpose. While we adopt for purely scalability purposes the idea of parachains or side chains for scaling, for feature implementation that isn't restrictive to the more basic elements of a crypto network or a blockchain processing system, which essentially should just be consensus and data store and state verification. What we do is a step forward. We don't really care about getting a whole set of blockchain systems deployed on us. We don't care to have, Luna and whatever Fala network, Astar, all these great products deployed on our system and then act independently. We really care on to advance our specific mission, which is to bring trustless storage to smart contracts to blockchain distributed systems. To that end, we still have the storage feature that they don't have, but vice versa. Our vision, our objectives are much more limited insofar as we don't want to create this integrated internet of blockchains and logic systems that act independently from another or inherit this common source of truth, such as the relay chain. We're rather thinking of side chains as scaling systems, much like layer twos, to further the one main purpose of Cherry Network, which is trustless storage.
Thanks, Herman. Another question regarding the future state of what's intended for the network is, will we have our own wallet? Some of these questions you've already answered before, but anyway, will we have our own wallet? If so, will it be possible to make bridges and everything necessary to operate with Cher within the wallet? Or is it not intended for the short term?
Short term, yes. We already sort of have this web wallet nested in the trade-up place. You can create a wallet or create the private key and a public key derivation, export and then re-import it again, make transactions and issue extrinsics all through the trade-up place. I understand that that's not the most user-friendly interface. The EVM compatibility layer will have its own wallet in addition to what we have now. Essentially party or as an extension to MetaMask and all the Ethereum products that I was mentioning earlier. But in addition to these two that are still not the wallet you'd expect, such as a trust wallet that's really easy to use. People can download it and use it without any understanding of how it works under the hood. We do have also in plan to do that, though it's now probably 3 to 4 months down the road once the main updates core are done, or of course, if things go better and we can manage to attract teams, selfless developers, able to do that and carry that effort on our behalf with our patronage, of course. But our time is scarce, and we'd much rather focus on core updates rather than these, frankly, aesthetics.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Herman. With regards to the storage, Cherry storage, will the storage function be like Google Drive? What will the cost of storage be, and how will that be handled? So basically, I think this isn't going to be a B2C storage function. I presume it's just going to be for developers building on the chain. But yeah, that's the question.
Right. So the basic idea is you have a file, you upload it, you assign an NFT to it, which is the on-chain representation, which is a much milder and atomic representation of the stored file, and you interact with it by entirely programmatic means to determine the fate of the stored asset associated with it. There is a caching period when you first upload it, and then there's a leniency period when the purchased stored time expires. The caching period currently is set at 6 hours. The leniency period is yet to be defined. Aside from these bounds, the market deciding the value, as well as the pricing system, whether permanent storage, whether metered storage, whether time-based storage that you can store for, let's say, 6 months, 12 months, and so forth. All that is nested in a free market model. So you interact with this offer, say an order book of storage providers for the different categories of store systems or store payment systems. Initially, this market will be intermediated by us. So we will have an interface and we'll have some Oracle system to make sure that everything's acting properly. But later on, we do expect that to scale further. To have systems like Bunker, for example, is a great example for this, that makes this quite complex systems much more accessible to the user, with translating all this complex, most economic function down to just a drag and drop, just like Google Drive, and with its own relative, very easy, let's say, subscription-based pricing model.
That's very exciting. I think that was the last of the questions that we had for you, Herman. So your contribution is much appreciated as always. What I'm going to do now, before we go and talk to some of the ecosystem project leads for Seedling and Cherish, is I'm going to briefly discuss some of the things that are happening internally and from the business side in Cherry. First of all, we have 2 new team members who have joined, who will be eased into their roles in the next couple of days. And it's quite exciting for what they will be doing, in particular, creating very interesting multimedia content, very focused on specific social networks, which will help people understand exactly what's going on with Cherry and what Cherry is. And we have the other team member who's joined will be helping us to get more of a quantitative idea of what we're doing in various parts of the internet, what our presence is like, and how to streamline that, and also how to streamline and improve our the website itself. So you'll start to see a bit of an upgrade, a bit of a facelift, a makeover for some of our outlets and how we present the project to the world. In terms of the ecosystem, there are a lot of exciting things that are happening. I won't spoil the news from Diego and Marv, but they've been working quite hard on partnerships, on media, and on various things like that. So that's quite exciting. The next event we envisage hosting or taking part in the real world is probably not going to be until the start of November, when we'll be attending the Web Summit in Lisbon in Portugal. Anybody who is going along, it's a huge event. I believe it's one of the top 3 tech events in the world. I've been there before several times myself, and it's quite a well-run affair. And we're going to be there to talk to you guys, to talk to partners, to spread the vision of Cherry and engage with the wider tech community. Because, as I've mentioned before, Cherry is not just a very niche crypto-focused product. It's also an important innovation with regards to more conventional tech companies getting involved in Web3, because we solve quite a practical concern that many of these larger companies will be concerned about. So if you're around Lisbon that weekend, or I think it starts Thursday to Sunday, then we'll be hosting a couple of meetups after the conference each day. I'd say it'll be fun. And if you're around the Lisbon region and you'd like to come along, then you don't actually need to have a ticket to the event itself, because we'll be hosting our own events outside of that in the evenings. So it'll be fun. If you do attend the event, then that'll be even more fun, because we'll have a presence there, and you guys can get involved, come along and see some of the cool stuff we're doing. Marvin has been working quite hard with our designers on on a new round of merchandise, which is, well, the first round was pretty cool. I really liked it, especially the t-shirts. This is really these new items are something that everybody would be very, very happy to wear around there. It's very high quality. We're going to be distributing some of this to the team, of course. We're going to be distributing some of these to the community as prizes, and then some will be on sale as well for cost price. So basically, we won't be actually making any money out of it, but it's a good way for the community members to get involved if they'd like to. But yeah, it's really high quality merch. It's really cool stuff. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it. We've also got a range of things planned. So different t-shirts, different hoodies, lots of different colors, all that kind of thing. So it's something that I hope will have something for everyone. As well, in keeping with our kind of outreach stuff, we're going to be doing a couple of a round of video content explaining how Cherry works, and also for the different ecosystem projects, which I won't ruin too much now, because they'll be discussed in a moment by Marv and Diego. But yeah, it's going to be in keeping with a more regimental marketing output from now on, in terms of our newsletters, our project updates, etc. Things have been it's hard to structure marketing output around things that are still very, we're addressing quite difficult problems on the technical side. So it's hard to envisage exactly what time frame things can be released. But now that we have the really kind of very complex things addressed around, like the core chain updates and stuff, then you can expect our marketing output to be much more regular, and yeah, you can just kind of get a better handle of the project on a weekly basis, because we can kind of predict with greater accuracy how things will unfold in a given week. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to being able to contact and reach you guys and communicate what's going on with you guys in even greater detail, in a more accessible and digestible way going forward. So that should be fun. Without further ado, I will hand you over to Marvin. Marvin is going to go over some of the things that are happening with Cherish. Cherish is now ramping up for the big launch. They've been very successful in a wide range of regards in terms of how they interact with their future target market and how things are being built and all sorts of other things. So it's very cool to hear about their progress. And Marv, would you like to come along and kind of fill us in now?
Definitely. First and foremost, very excited for the Portugal meetup. I hope I see some of our community there. Like we did on the last two meetups, really good time. And then, as you said, Owen, the merch is looking really good. I'm really looking forward to getting that out to everybody as well. Then when it comes to Cherish, Herman mentioned that we're making great strides on the back end, on the website, on the platform, which is also very, very good to announce, and that we're a couple of weeks away. So keep your eyes peeled for more releases on that side and sneak peeks of how everything is going to go once Cherish is launched. If you want to see one of these sneak peeks already, we just released one of our updates on Medium. If you scroll back through the announcements on Twitter and Telegram for Cherish, you can have a quick read through. It's a small article about how we will be segmenting pages and how this will affect the platform as a whole. It's a very important design decision, architecture decision, because this will greatly impact how you interact with content, how you show your audience your content, and how Cherish really sets apart from any other content platforms out now, and how Cherish really emphasizes the creator and creativity at heart. So have a quick read through of that. I think you'll be excited to see how we approach these things. Then, additionally, we're doing really well on the creator side, interacting with a lot of creators, getting their opinions on Cherish, on the decisions we're making, and getting more creators onboarded every single day. We're really excited to get a platform really caters to them and not catered to advertising companies. So I'll leave the technical update to what Herman mentioned just earlier. And you guys can look forward to things that we're planning to release in the future. You can expect another piece of awesome content coming out next week. The rest you'll hear and see coming by at high speeds. That was it for Cherish.
Okay, thanks, Marv. We'll jump in straight to Diego, and then in a few minutes, I presume, we'll have the next quiz started up. Every winner from the past 4 weeks has been contacted, and I think, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 people, all prizes hitherto have been sent out, and the latest round of prizes will be sent out probably tomorrow from this quiz, the winners of which will probably be announced 2 hours after the quiz today. Okay, Diego, want to jump in there, please?
Hello, sure. Hello, guys. Today I wanted to start off talking about our digital presence in the pre-sale market, which from an internal point of view is very well established. We have many deal flows with big names, other launchpads, other communities, which are not necessarily shown as public partners, but also very important to show our physical presence in the crypto space, which is also present, not only in the future Lisbon event, but this week our analyst, Javin, has and is attending more than 1 event per day in the Southeast Asia region, Singapore, Malaysia, etc. I can confirm we have already established contact with loads of projects in the last 48, 72 hours, both looking for fundraising and well-established firms in the space. We will be sharing some pictures of the events and for the Seedling presence. Also, I wanted to make a very quick comment to stress the importance of the community in the crypto market. By statistics, I can see that people do read Seedling chat and the announcement channel. I know many of you guys don't participate in the chat actively because maybe you have nothing to say. We'll try and be more active in the chat. And this brings me to the participation in the listing competition, which might look like the community did not support, but indeed, even if the numbers don't show, the LaToken team have detected a bot system working for the other team, which worsens our percentage. The competition has now stopped and the other team has been disqualified. We have arranged a call with the LaToken growth team to see how we can work from here. So thank you guys for that. Furthermore, we are in advanced negotiation with one of the many projects in the pipeline and should be ultimating the last negotiations to see if we can successfully launch them. We have also focused with our reach to new communities, both within crypto pre-sales, like the other launchpads, and out of the pre-sale market, communities that speak about altcoins in the market, etc., and are maybe not familiarized with the pre-sale launchpad method of investments and are more risk adverse. Now that we have a very powerful tool that is the Cherry University, it will be easier to explain how this market works to these types of communities and build our community with new people in the market. And then finally, regarding the Seedling newsletter, which was mentioned last week, we'll provide soon with a recap of our work in the last few months and recap of September and what should be expected for the next weeks. In October, we will also provide another one and we will follow this pattern systematically. Again, all of these resources are for you guys to read and share around and help us spread the Seedling word. That's all for me. Thank you.
That's fantastic, Diego. Thank you. And yeah, I'd like to touch on something that he mentioned, which is specifically that there are a lot of other projects that use all manner of underhanded and dishonest marketing and other business practices, and we don't do that because I think we're one of the most transparent and accessible projects in the crypto space. And we also have a vision in that we want to make the crypto industry, the tech industry, and the rest of the world actually a better place, a more fair and open place with less corruption. So we don't engage in any of that stuff, and we never will. So the support that we receive is very valuable to us because of that. So we always appreciate you guys, and we try and give back to the community however we can. On that note, we are going to move on to the quiz now. Thank you all for joining. And I think that John has some interesting questions lined up for us. So we will we'll jump straight into the quiz now, if that's okay. I'll thank you all again for joining us today. And I look forward to speaking to you guys over the next couple of days about what's going on in our project. Bye-bye.